It is going to be a Lexel day. So step one, once we know where the stairs actually are, is we have to figure out the total rise. So in this case, these patio stones we've got down is where the stairs are going to end. And the total rise is the distance off the patio stones level with the top of the deck frame in this case. And I don't have to worry about the deck boards going on top of here because I'm going to be using the same deck boards on the stairs. If you're using a different material on the stairs, you might have to worry about that, but where it's going to be a 5/4 deck board on the stairs and a 5/4 deck board on the actual deck itself, everything works out the same. So either way, with my level, and it's important that you check that. Right here I've got 42 inches, which is perfect because that works out for really easy math. And I like to check it in a couple of spots just to see if there's any inconsistencies, which I knew there would be. The reason I know there is I want the stairs to have a little bit of a slope in this case, and the patio stones down here have a little bit of slope. So in this case, I'm going to go center of the run, find my number, and I'm going to change how I reduce the bottom rise. And we'll get more into that later. But this will be the number we want. And we are 41 3/4. I'll do the math on it, but that is probably going to work out to like a 6 7/8 rise. And yes, locally, I can make a rise below 7 inches. I measured 41 3/4 over there. I add the deck board to the top. That works out to 42 3/4. So finished surface to finished surface, top of the deck board to bottom of those patio stones. Again, total rise, 42 3/4. Easy math. I divide it by 6. That's going to give me 6 rises, 5 treads. Works out to a unit rise of 7 1/8. So I've already set my square up to 7 1/8. My run is 10. As you can see, I've already got one laid out. An important step here is when you're doing that first rise. So this is the bottom of the stairs, and I'm marking my first rise. Reduce that first rise by the thickness of your deck board. Otherwise, that first tread will be too tall, and your stairs, your first tread will be too tall, or your first rise, I should say, will be too tall, and your last rise will be too short. So you'll end up with stairs that are uneven. And there we are, 5 treads. There we go. All right, we're getting back on track here. We've lost more than a couple days. I had to be away for various reasons. The upside with being away, I was able to get the patio door, so that's a win. Kelsey had to be away. Yeah, and trying to play catch up and other things, just been really slack on the stories. But we have a dance floor. We have a good start on the railing. And we'll get a door today. And there's stairs right there. So that's a good thing. And I'm putting a door in. So that means it is going to be an excellent day. So we have a hybrid flashing pan happening here. Essentially, we have zip stretch tape, which creates the sill flashing. I am attaching a flexible SS, a flexible stainless steel flashing, to the zip stretch tape to complete the pan. We've got a nice folded corner here. We've created a back dam. Once we set the door in here, should the door leak down the road, and we all know that it will eventually leak down the road, any water that gets into this pan is going to be allowed to drain down, out, and away. It'll either slide behind this trim. We've got a nice 1 millimeter gap thanks to a little bit of hydro gap, or it can flow right out over. And if nothing else, we're going to contain the water and allow it to dry to the inside. All right, I have this ready to go. Get the adhesive off of the back. And then I'm going to bring my back dam up, fold that into place. No holes, just straight folds. The adhesive will hold it, and the door will sit down in here and obviously make a watertight pan. Lexel, cheapest insurance you can buy, in my opinion, when installing a window or a door. And you think you're not going to make it because the tube is getting down? You don't make it. All right, so we've got a mixed bag of tricks going on here. I know we've got a bunch of zip tape for flashing. We got some York flashing tied in there, but we've also got some Benny Hobb hydro gap. So we're going to use some hydro flash just to tie the actual patio door into the Benjamin Hobb dike. Could we do with something else? Probably, yes. The reason I've gone with a little bit of Benjamin Hobb dike here is just to ensure we actually have a bit of drainage. Water gets behind the trim, the shingles, whatever the case may be. There is that little gap, that 1 millimeter gap. It's just going to let water sneak out. All right, that's it for this project for right now. When we get the window, we'll be back. We'll finish up the exterior trims. We'll finish up the interior trims, and obviously we'll put the shingles on the wall. But it doesn't make sense to do half of the shingles now and then come back and do half the shingles later. So I'm going to get some numbers at the end of the day for the flashing on top of the Versatech. So that belly band or quasi water table trim, if you will. And when we come back, we'll trim out around the patio door, we'll install flashings, and we'll finish up the cedar shingles. Not necessarily in that order.